I recently posted about the fact I'm 26 years old and I'm in $95,487.73 worth of debt, and I want to talk about it. Up until 24 hours ago, I did not know that was actually the total of all of my debt, credit cards, and student loans. That number also does not include my auto loan, and if we are adding in my auto loan, the total number is $110,938.83. Since totaling up all of my debt, I don't think I've actually gotten one good breath of oxygen in the last 24 hours. I feel like there is an elephant sitting on my chest, and I don't think I can sit still because all I keep repeating is $95,487.73.
And when she said an elephant on her chest, I felt all of that. Can we be honest here, y'all? These are penitentiary numbers we are looking at on the screen. And how my mind registers it is, how much money do you make per hour? And how many hours would it take to pay off this debt? And at this point, maybe it's not even hours, maybe it's decades. And what makes it even worse is hearing people that are 26 have this amount of student loan debt. However, if you get it in the right field, maybe it's not so bad if you're able to pay it off.
All of this debt was racked up through decisions I made between the ages of 18 and 26. My first associate's degree I got from a community college and I didn't have to pay for because of the Pell Grant, but I decided to go to a university and got my bachelor's degree, which is where I really started to rack up the debt. Then in the last 2 years, I decided to finish a nursing degree at a community college in the last 2 years, but that's where I started to rack up even more debt. What really sucks is realizing that the majority of these student loans is not from tuition. It's actually from living expenses and living way above my means. My debt comprises of 2 credit cards, 5 federal student loans, and 5 private Sallie Mae loans. I can handle the federal student loans, but when I tell you Sallie Mae is bending me over and not in a way I like, it's actually insane. Sallie Mae is genuinely evil and they prey on young students.
Wait, not bending you over. We don't like that. Sallie Mae, take it easy, please. Lord have mercy. And another thing that caught my attention that she said was she admitted that a lot of her debt was racked up because she was simply living above her means, which I actually respect this lady's honesty. I know a lot of people like to just go at the people who made bad financial decisions. But again, I always feel like we can learn something from these people. And I respect the accountability. I honestly don't like when people act like they don't know why they're in the situation they're in and they don't know how it happened. And despite what we may think, her story is quite relatable because a lot of young people live way above their means, especially in college, because you still want to live life and have fun, right? But at least she's admitting it, and she's going to have to face the consequences for her actions, but at least she's not playing like she don't know what happened.
The reason why they take advantage of young students is because they know if you're reaching out to a private loan like that, you genuinely need it. Out of the 5 Sallie Mae loans I have, one of the interest rates that is the highest is 16.28%. The lowest interest rate I have with Sallie Mae is 9.88%. Now, my federal student loans are between 4 and 6%, which I think is manageable. Although I had parents who would tell me what I should or shouldn't do, I never had anybody really sit me down and fully teach me financial literacy. I never had anybody sit me down and really explain to me the scope of what I was doing and what it would look like in the future when I had to pay for it.
Look, and that is a great point. And to the people in the comments who I know are ready to start typing, slow down, y'all. I know y'all are ready to say, welcome to America. None of us are taught financial literacy. Our parents don't teach us financial literacy. The schools don't teach us financial literacy. You're on your own, figure it out. But for me, I just think about the 18-year-olds who are just being told go to school. But now we have things like TikTok, we have social media, we have YouTube. We have people actually trying to get the information out to people and say, hey, college may not be a bad idea. It might not be a bad thing, but you need to make sure you're going for the right thing. You're able to pay it back. But she's a nurse. And I'm not saying that makes her debt any less stressful because that is a big heavyweight. But I will say she didn't go to school for something that wasn't going to be able to pay back her student loan debt. And that is what I'm afraid a lot of people will do. So I would encourage anybody thinking about signing on that dotted line to Sallie Mae, make sure that you're able to pay back that degree and you're able to sustain your lifestyle. But back to her point about not being taught financial literacy, I want y'all to comment down below because I don't want people to feel like they're alone. Just comment the words, me too, if you weren't taught either and you're trying to figure it out.
In the moment, all of the student loans just felt like fake money because they just kept coming and I just kept spending. I don't regret any of the experiences I've had between the ages of 18 and 26 or any of the things that I've done, but I do wish that I managed my finances way better than this. I think what's even more sad is a lot of these student loans were going to rent, which my rent was around $1,200 a month. And that's been consistent over the last 2-3 years.
And honestly, she's paying a normal amount for rent. That's not even nothing outlandish. But what I see a lot of college students do is they usually have roommates, and even some of them got 3 roommates. I even heard about somebody living in a house where everybody had a room, and because the rent was being split like 3 ways, everybody didn't have to pay that much money. I just feel like either having a roommate or just going to school while you live with your parents is the best way to do it, especially if you're trying to figure out how to manage your own college debt and you know that at the end of the day, you're going to have to pay back. Like if your parents are not helping you, if they will take you, I don't see why not move back home. But I know that isn't an option for a lot of people. Heck, some people are put out at 18 years old. So I see it as a huge blessing to be able to have help through those college years if somebody will help you out. You want to minimize your expenses as much as you can. And she's acknowledging that, hey, if I didn't have to pay this rent, probably wouldn't be in so much debt. Symone, trying to keep you out of debt. Hit subscribe, touch the screen.
Thankfully, I do have a finance bro as a boyfriend, and he is really great at managing money and managing wealth. And so I am working with him to do a snowball effect. If I snowball all of my loans at the current rates that they are without consolidating them, I can pay all of this off by 2032. It's really sad because I'm excited about starting my first nursing job next month, but at the same time, I know that all of the money I'm making is going to debt. I'm turning 27 this year, and I wish I could be thinking about starting a family or getting married or buying a house, but really, I can't think about anything but paying off this debt. The last thing I would want to do is bring a child into this world while I have debt hanging over my head. So it almost feels like my life is kind of on hold right now, but I feel like it's even more motivation to just pay this off as quickly as possible. It is what it is. What's done is done. And at the end of the day, if you are in your early 20s and you're thinking about taking out student loans, I urge you to reconsider and ask yourself whether or not you really truly need it. If I knew then what I know now, I would tell myself that no experience, no desire, no want is worth the stress that I feel now.
I really appreciate her for sharing this because it really makes you think. She said that she's considering not even having a family or getting married or things like that, or she feels like she can't go ahead and pursue those things because of her debt. And honestly, I understand where she's coming from because that would be a big financial burden to think about. And then you're trying to bring a child into the world. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, no, you should go ahead and have babies now. Quick, hurry. Times are ticking. I know how people are. But maybe she feels like she's not in the best financial situation to do that. And also, she's not married yet. And she's probably not trying to get married yet because she's in debt. She probably doesn't want to go into a marriage with debt, which I can understand because now you and your husband going to be trying to figure out that debt together. And I honestly think not enough people have an honest conversation about their finances before they get married or before they have children or before they get a house or before they start doing all the other things that they may have as aspirations in their life. Because in the economy we live in, it's hard enough for some people to get by without kids. So if you add kids in the equation, oh my. And her being 26 with no kids actually made me think of that Jacquees challenge and everybody's debating on social media about being 21 with no kids. Y'all comment down below. Tell me what you think about that. But I noticed something here in the comments. Y'all tell me why when I scrolled over, Dave Ramsey is in the comments. Like, Dave, what is you doing here? Dave Ramsey commenting under this video is diabolical work. Never mind, I take that back. That's kind of like being surprised that a firefighter is giving a seminar on fire safety. I'm out of line. I'm sorry, Dave. I mean, Mr. Dave. We got to respect our elders. But Mr. Dave Ramsey said, hope you can pay them off as soon as possible. We're all rooting for you. And yes, we are. And somebody had the laughing emojis and said, this sent me. Y'all, it sent me too. I was not expecting that. And because we were shared this information online and we did not ask for it, I have did the pleasure of trying to get to the bottom of why or how she ended up 26 with all this debt, because I know you want to know too.
I'm 26 years old and I'm in $95,487.73 worth of debt, majority of that being student loans. And I fear some people in my comment section when I originally talked about my debt need to understand what reality is like for a lot of people today trying to get an education. So I'm just going to give you a breakdown of what the last 18 months on a minimum has cost me so that you can understand why I've racked up $95,000 trying to get an education. Prior to getting my nursing degree, I spent 2 years at a community college getting my associate's. Then I hopped over to a university and got my bachelor's degree. Now, the first 2 years didn't really cost me anything. I lived at home. I had the Pell Grant, but when I went to the university, it only covered so much. I had a lot of expenses. When I was at university, I was going to school fall, spring, and summer. I was also living off campus. So the majority of my loans came from housing and having to survive while I was away at college. And yes, I did also work when I was away at college. I have never not had a job. So now back to the breakdown of just the last 18 months while in nursing school. We'll say my rent on average was around $1,150 a month. At 18 months, that's $20,700. Now, my car payment and my insurance at 18 months is $9,000. This is literally not even including gas.
So $9,000 divided by 18 is $500. So that's how much she's paying on her car, not including gas. And she was paying around $1,200 a month or something like that. So off top bare minimum, it looks like she was already paying $1,700.
My tuition was roughly around $5,000, not including any other expenses I had to pay out of pocket. And I also included food because I needed to survive, and I put an average of $250 a month, which came out to $4,500 for the last 18 months. And that is just the minimum because I know it's way more than that. So that brings the grand total to $39,200 for 18 months. That is the bare minimum, not including my pet insurance, not including gas, not including reoccurring expenses or doctor visits, not including my car breaking down. I also did work during this period of time. I had a work from home job. I used to be full-time, but in school I went part-time. However, because my school couldn't get it together and they were constantly changing the schedule, there were a lot of weeks where I couldn't work. So guess what I had to survive on? Student loans. So I hope this rough breakdown really helps you understand how I have $90,000 in student loans, basically. Because this is just the bare minimum. My monthly expenses are way worse than this. And somehow I've been able to survive, thankfully, because I do have some sort of money coming in because I also do work. It may not be full-time anymore, but I do bring in some sort of income. So actually, my debt could be way worse than it is, but I'm thankful that it isn't. And I hope that helps you understand a little bit better.
Another thing that really stood out to me was she said she had pet insurance. And I know a lot of y'all are about to be like, why did that stand out? It's because I think a lot of people who are typically struggling to make ends meet always seem to have a dog or a pet. And I'm not against pets because I love dogs. I have a dog. But it's just a theme that I noticed that when a lot of people are struggling, they have animals. And they don't usually just have one. They have like 2 or 3. And then they have pet insurance. I just don't think it's a good idea if you're already struggling to get a dog, to get a cat, to get nothing that's going to cost extra money because they're like kids. I just took my dog to the vet last week because she got an injury to her paw pads. She ran too fast and they came off. $200 gone, unexpected. And a lot of people are in the same exact boat as this person here. They have a great job, but they are like swimming in student loan debt or they're in consumer debt because they were trying to survive while they're in college. But I honestly think she has a good chance, like a really good chance of getting out of this because she has a good job. One of the comments says, housing is overlooked in the student debt issue. Cheap housing in my college area was impossible, even with multiple roommates. And remember, we were just talking about that earlier. Landlords take advantage of kids who need to take out loans for rent. And she says, thank you. At uni, I worked at the off-campus housing for cheaper rent. And it was still $600 a month. Then for my nursing degree, my boyfriend and I live in regular apartments, which is nearly $1,200 a month each. So she's probably living with her boyfriend then. I don't know. How I understood that she might be living with her boyfriend. So possibly back down to $600 a month. I'm just saying. And this is why a lot of people like to be in houses that have multiple incomes. Whether it's your brother, your sister, your cousin, your wife, your husband, your next door neighbor, your long lost uncle, aunt, your mom, your dad, 2 heads or 3, 4 heads work better than one. And I think the real magic comes together when you can have multiple people that are like-minded around you and you all just stay out the way and you all just want to lower your cost of living so you come together and make it happen. But see what the problem is, and I'm not saying this is her situation, but I see with a lot of people, they can't come together. They are very individualistic. They're like, oh, I need my own space. I need my own this, my own that. And then you end up paying. You're going to pay for your own space and you're going to probably struggle just to have your own space. And if it's worth it to you, who am I to say what to do? But I'm saying a lot of people can't afford to do that. And it's starting to get to the point where you just having a place to yourself, if you are single, is a luxury because a lot of people aren't making it. Especially college students. A lot of people already did the roommate thing and the cost of living is going up. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with wanting your own space because I understand, but you got to do what you can afford. And that's the thing that I think needs to be reiterated. So I found another video she posted. It has over 2 million views and it says, letting TikTok pay down my $95,487 worth of debt. Okay, I'm not mad at this. She's showing herself paying it with her TikTok money?
My debt after, so to all the people who left me hate comments on my video regarding my debt after nursing school, you just paid that out of card. Thank you.
And I'm not even mad at this. I'm actually happy for her. She said that people were hating on her essentially so bad and leaving her nasty comments that she was able to come back and flex on them because she is able to pay down her student loan debt or whatever debt she had from her TikTok money where she was getting hate. Somebody says here, haters paying your bills is the biggest flex. Then she said, about to help me pay my second one too. The way I see it, a win is a win. Now, what I want to know is, how much student loan debt do you have and are you going to pay it back? Because I know a lot of y'all are hiding. Or are you too scared to look at the balance altogether because you just already know you're going to crash out about it? Comment down below. Let me know what you think about this all below. And let me know, do you think that college is a scam? But we have to start making better decisions today in order to have a better future.